One of the most common video requests I've received over the past few years is to rank all of Iron Maiden's studio albums. The thing is, I don't think I could really ever do that because for one thing, I don't know which metrics I could apply and how I could do so in a truly objective fashion. And the other reason is that I've always seen Iron Maiden as a band who makes the album they feel like making at any given time, without trying to hit any specific KPIs or anything of that nature. Now, aside from taking 6 months off after the grueling Power Slave tour, they've never really taken time off to regroup and strategize over what the next direction of the band would be. I could be wrong about this, but I truly believe that Iron Maiden are the kind of band who always made albums organically, in the sense that they wrote and recorded the music that came out of them naturally at any given point in their career. So with that in mind, I don't feel I could compare how successful they were at making one album over another if I'm not privy to what their thinking was at the time. I can't measure how successful they were at making a specific album without knowing exactly what kind of album they were trying to make in the first place. So those are my reasons for not wanting to rank Iron Maiden's albums. However, what I can and will do in this first of 3 videos is tell you which is my personal favorite song on each of Iron Maiden's studio albums, from their self-titled debut in 1980 to Senjutsu, which they released in 2021. Now, this isn't about which song I think is best or most important, but simply which one resonates with me the most for whichever reason it might be. I think this is a great way for us to get to know each other a little better, especially if you all talk about some of your favorites in the comment section, and I do hope that many of you will do that. So let's get right to it, starting with my favorite song from Iron Maiden's self-titled debut, and that's, perhaps unsurprisingly, Phantom of the Opera. Now, for a band to have a song this unique, iconic, and revolutionary on their first album is just absolutely incredible. Everything that defines Iron Maiden's music is contained within this song. Now, just by the way it starts. You know it's just gonna be epic. This was actually the very first thing I ever heard from Iron Maiden, except it wasn't the actual song, but an 8-bit MIDI version that I had downloaded on my Commodore 64 computer from a local bulletin board service. Now, I might have been 11 or 12 years old at the time, and I found a file that someone had made entitled Iron Maiden. And it was a bitmap rendering of the Trooper cover with the MIDI music of Phantom of the Opera. So without lyrics or context, I initially thought that was the Trooper. Then when I finally heard the actual song on the Live After Death vinyl, I was so excited because it was like, oh, that's the song. The follow-up album, Killers, is just full of great songs, but my personal favorite is the dark and dreamy Purgatory. I just love the way the fast and driving rhythm of the song and the ethereal sounding parts like the guitar harmonies on the verse and chorus and Dave Murray's flowy, delay-laden solo all mixed together. It makes for a very unique sounding piece of music, especially with its unusual arrangement where you have the guitar solo between the first verse and chorus. And how awesome is Dave's intro riff? It's also really cool that you can hear Adrian turn on the volume and move his hand across the strings before hitting his chord stabs. And stuff like that just adds a certain magic that, to me at least, is such an important part of the connection we make with music early on. From the Number of the Beast album, the song that had the most impact on me as a young Maiden fan and as an aspiring guitarist was undoubtedly the epic closer, Hallowed Be Thy Name. Now, this song revisits many of the same elements as Phantom of the Opera, only with more elaborate songwriting and an incredible build-up with the intensity gradually rising from the beginning to the end of the song. This is probably the band's first true emotional roller coaster, with the way the lyrics, music, and performance work together to create an almost cinematic listening experience. Bruce's vocal delivery still gives me chills to this day, as does the image of Dave and Adrian running up to the top left and right side of the stage to play the harmonized riff before the final chorus. The way they let the top note ring and the rhythm section playing faster, driving eighth notes instead of the slower and more deliberate gallop makes this part so climactic, especially with the way it leads to the outro chorus. If you're new to the channel, I want to take a quick moment to welcome you. My name is Nico, and I hope you'll consider subscribing and turning on notifications so that you could be up to date with everything we do here. This is a really exciting time for us as we just started covering the music of other great heavy metal artists alongside that of Iron Maiden. So this is an excellent time for you to join our growing community of like-minded metal fans, especially if you enjoy lots of cool guitar-related stuff. Alright, let's get back to my favorite songs. I've said it on a few occasions that I feel Peace of Mind is the album where Iron Maiden really solidified their sound and their musical direction. It's an important album in their career as it launched what is arguably their most celebrated song, The Trooper, and for me, it's an album that always had a certain magic. When I was in my early teens, listening to that album felt like entering an old chamber of secrets. I don't know how else to describe it, and the song that feels like that the most, with its mystical lyrics and dreamy guitar lines, is Bruce Dickinson's Revelations. There are so many great lines in the song, but it's actually the recurring arpeggiated figure that binds it all together. Ablaze with hope and free. Sorry. Los Angeles, can you feel it? My obsession with Iron Maiden started with the Live After Death home video, and Power Slave was such a huge moment on it with the heartbeat intro, Bruce being hidden during the first verse and then appearing above the stage through the pyro wearing that wicked mask, Mummy Eddie running across the stage. It's a lot to take in. But of course, the magnificent music is what provided a lifetime of chills and goosebumps, like Dave and Adrian's mind-blowing solos, probably among their finest moments, especially Dave, and the dreamy harmony line between Adrian and Dave's solos, where Dave is playing this, and Adrian plays it like this. Those of you who have been following the channel for a while know that Somewhere in Time is my absolute favorite Iron Maiden album and the tour that I would most want to see if I could time travel. See what I mean? As a big fan of Adrian Smith, this was definitely the album where his presence was felt in an obviously huge way. He wrote 3 out of the 8 songs and played so many memorable guitar parts, but it's so much more than just that for me. It's the coming together of the unique sound, especially with the heavy chorus and guitar synths, the vibe, the theme, the album cover, the stage set, even the B-sides of the album's 3 singles, especially That Girl, which was the B-side to Stranger in a Strange Land. This is without a doubt my Desert Island album. And the highlight among highlights for me is the song Sea of Madness. This entire song feels like a daydream. I just love the cool guitar parts and the unique arrangement. Like the main riff, where you have Adrian playing this, and Dave doing it this way. So that they're hitting different accents to create this really cool syncopation. And the really interesting way that they use dyads on the pre-chorus. This line here in particular. gonna end this video with an album that nowadays many consider Iron Maiden's finest, although let's just say it wasn't universally the case when it was first released. Seventh Son of a Seventh Son is a definite highlight of their career and the culmination of everything they'd been working towards since the first album. It basically takes the sound they developed on Somewhere in Time and just makes it a little darker with slightly more raw and heavier sounding guitars and more cohesive songs. Hard to pick a favorite on this album because there are so many strong songs and the title track contains what might be my favorite 3 minutes of music ever. But since we're talking about songs, I'm gonna say Infinite Dreams. The lyrics are so poignant, the music is impeccably dreamy and cinematic, and the guitar parts are simply wonderful. I'll just play a few of them for you, like the intro where Adrian starts by playing this exquisite melody. And Dave comes in after 2 repeats with this harmony a fourth higher. The first verse features some of my very favorite interplay between the two, with Adrian keeping a solid rhythm like this, and Dave getting all Hendrixy with these more fluid lines. And of course, the harmonized melody that they play in the song's middle section, with Dave playing the higher melody and Adrian playing it a sixth lower down here. And it's really cool how Dave ascends before the top note, while Adrian descends instead. It's those little details that make Iron Maiden's guitar harmonies so memorable. This section sounds especially powerful over the steady rhythm section provided by Steve Harris and Nico McBrain, and the synth outlining the chord changes on top of everything. So that's it for this very first video on my personal favorite Iron Maiden songs. We'll spread the next 2 out over the course of the year so that we're continuing to cover a variety of topics and not releasing 3 similar videos back to back. Now in the meantime, I hope you'll share your own personal favorites from these first 7 Iron Maiden albums in the comments. I know a lot of you are longtime fans, so I'm looking forward to seeing what interesting insights and perspectives come up. As always, thank you all so much for watching and stay tuned for more licks of the beast.